Good to go. Yo, how's it going? I'm here with Zhu.
Yeah.
BOXR Zhu.
TwitchCon 2016.
2016. First player that we signed to BOXR. And why this is happening right now, it's not going to be as much of a surprise because obviously we were holding an announcement for the first.
Today?
Today, yeah, today.
Technically?
Yeah, this is supposed to be the first thing that you heard about when wondering what this Falco was in the video and the whole teaser video leading up to this day. It was all supposed to come down to this video, but ESPN fat fingered the announcement. Zhu was up at the same time as me in the morning.
Yeah.
I woke up, I was getting this poster done with Moxie. Shout out to Moxie, amazing design on that poster. Bless. The first thing he said, this guy's a god. It's such a beautiful, well done. But anyways, I was looking at this half-drawn poster, had no colors in it, and then off the top of my phone, hadn't brushed my teeth yet, I'm lying in bed, and then off the top of my phone, notification, ESPN has tagged you in a tweet. And I'm just what do we do right now? We have nothing done. We have no poster. We hadn't got you the jacket yet. I hadn't met you yet. The whole surprise is ruined. The video's null, right? Everything's fucked. But
Dude,
anyways.
We pulled it together. I think on my end as well, it was one of the busiest work days I've ever had.
Yeah.
I was scrambling just to keep up with all the social media, just working with ESPN, working with Reddit, working with Twitter, and getting all the draft posts and stuff ready.
That's why I love you, okay? Because any other player, you'd have to coach them. How to do social media, how to talk to people, how to sell yourself. He does all that. He handles all that shit. And I'm being 100% transparent. That shit matters to an org. You know, people need to know how to do that. That's the stuff that you get. Riot classically trains their players to do media and stuff like that. But you already know that, and that's really important. So that's a bonus. That's that's an extra thing for me that makes me happy. So if you're a player and you're looking to get sponsored, take care of yourself on social media. Okay, that's an important point. But what happened? We had so that announcement came out, and then as soon as I woke up, I messaged you, and I honestly wasn't. I didn't even know what to do. I was do we just pretend this never happened? But unless you're new to the internet, you can't fucking delete something from the internet. It's there forever, right?
Right.
So as soon as we told ESPN to take it down, right 2 seconds later, the score tags me in a tweet and says Zhu signed by BOXR and all this shit. So it was a shitstorm. So we ran with it. We got Moxie got the poster done in 3 hours, which was super clutch, and then we made it happen. Now we're at TwitchCon. I'm with Zhu, and I'm here to get to know you. So the point of this interview is it's going on YouTube. Okay. A lot of my subs watch Counter-Strike. All right. Some watch Smash, but everybody wants to get to know you as a player, as a person, and I want to get to know you better as a player, because I know a lot about Counter-Strike, and honestly, if you hadn't played 1.6, there would be no way for you to figure out about how a player was in 1.6 unless you were there. There's not archives, and for Smash it's even harder, right? There's not many resources to be able to find out the history of players, watch all the VODs if possible. You had to really rely on people to upload to YouTube and stuff like that. So I kind of want to know how it all started. How'd you get into Smash?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think the really cool thing about Smash is at some point when it first came out, everyone had a copy of Smash, pretty much. Yeah. Right? If you don't follow the competitive scene, you know about Smash, Melee, Brawl, 64, whatever, in some shape or form because it was just something that you had or something that your friend had as a fun party game, right? Mm-hmm. So I got in because I started like that. I got the game on its release, and I played it for a while, but I got kind of bored because we were just kind of spamming. Are
you talking about Melee or 64?
Melee specifically.
Melee, okay,
yeah.
okay.
I've always been a Melee player, even when I wasn't competitive.
Okay.
But, just me and my group of friends would play. We would just do random stuff, and that gets really old really fast when you're not playing with really much thought behind it.
Were you always better than your friends? I remember Mango saying something that when he was playing with Lucky, he said that even when they were bad, he was still better. Were you just always better than your friends who were just playing for fun?
I think it was somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between?
I think I definitely figured out some kind of high level techniques just on my own, but so for example, I figured out short hopping by myself.
Okay.
I always played Falco, so I figured out short hopping and I figured out down airing. I figured out that you can run, you can short hop, you can down air. That covers a lot of space. Yeah. Seems really good, but I didn't know L canceling. I didn't know how to actually kill people.
Okay.
So yeah, I figured out a few things, but I wasn't beating my friends, for example. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so a couple years pass, and I'm just kind of bragging about how good I am, but I'm really not. And someone comes along, a friend of mine, she challenged me, and she watched Ken videos. Ken being the legendary Marth player. Mm-hmm. She knew about Ken versus Bomb Soldier, and she learned how to chain grab like a Falco. Mm-hmm. She did that to me, and I kind of got like a little discouraged, but mostly just amazed that like there was this whole other game within the game. You could pick up a character and you can like be very coordinated, and you can kill someone off of one hit, and that was incredible.
Right.
And then she showed me Ken versus Bomb Soldier, one of my favorite sets of all time.
And you hadn't seen like competitive Smash up until that point, or?
Not at all.
Oh, not at all. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I did not know about its existence at all.
And you grew up in NorCal, like when you were playing Smash?
Yeah.
Okay, in San Francisco specifically?
City called Cupertino.
Okay.
Apple headquarters.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
So.
Was that one infinite loop? Is that Apple? Or is that Google? That's Google. The address for like their headquarters.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but
Not
that
sure,
sounds
yeah.
familiar. Yeah.
But you guys had a really big scene in NorCal, right?
Yeah. Even like 10 years ago, I would have to travel maybe like half an hour to an hour for a tournament of 30 like pretty good players.
Okay.
And that was considered really good back in the day. Even now, some states like don't have that. Like you go to the Midwest, you would have to travel 2 hours for kind of like a mediocre tournament at times. But yeah, 10 years ago in NorCal, like I had all the resources to like all the good players, a lot of influential ones, a lot of top ones, so it was a good place to grow up.
So what was your first like big placing? Like what had you inspired to be like, man, I can really do this?
Oh man, so a little bit of NorCal history. Like around 10 years ago, the two kind of dominating crews were DBR. So if anyone watched like Shine Blind or like the DBR combo videos, those videos got a lot of people into Smash. They were NorCal.
Okay.
And then the other crew, they're called the Bayesians. So
yeah, Bay Area Asians. Yeah, you referenced that in that Last Lock Legends. Check it out. Yeah, that's where you talked about it, right? I think.
Briefly, yeah.
Yeah.
But when I first started, I wasn't part of them, right? Because I was getting good. There was one tournament before a national called OC3. That was my breakout tournament. So I think the best I placed before that was like 9th out of like 50 or 60. And I've beaten like a ranked player or two, but that NorCal biweekly, the one before OC3, I got second, and I basically just beat pretty much everyone. I even beat the person who ended up winning in one set, and he beat me in the second set of Grand Finals. But yeah, that was my breakout tournament where like I basically beat everyone in the PR. The Bayesians after that tournament, like I think that was the tournament where they asked me, yo, like, you know, you're doing really well. We all get along. You should be part of the crew.
True.
So that was like a really big deal for me.
Okay, so what's the field like at the time? What year is this? Who's the best character by like rating? Like what do people think is the best character? And then after that, why did you pick Falco?
Well, I mean, I picked Falco before like I even considered anything about what character was good or not. I was just really inspired by Bomb Soldier to play that really aggressive technical style. But in terms of the year, this was like 2006. Okay. I think maybe 2007. I'm not really sure. And the good characters are pretty much what the good characters are right now. The tier list hasn't changed too much, except
wasn't like Sheik was like the best character then, or?
No, not even. I would say back then it was kind of a tie between like Fox, Falco, Marth, and Sheik. Pretty much the same as right now. Okay. It's actually interesting how that works out.
Yeah. That is kind of crazy, isn't it? Because after all the tech has happened and certain characters have made other characters obsolete, you still have the same best characters as when people started playing competitively in the first place.
Yeah, that's kind of the interesting thing about Melee. Like, a lot of the techniques are pretty universal, I would say. So what makes a player good at the game tends to be true for whatever character that they play. So you'll see like, you know, like Mango, for example. His Fox, Falco, Sheik, Marth, and Falcon are all like kind of close in overall skill, like for the most part. It's like, in a lot of other games, you have character specialists. Yeah. And they're only good at that one character. And that's true for some players in Melee, but overall, like, if you're good with one character, you tend to be good with a lot of them.
Interesting.
And I think that holds true over time as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely like the best Genji in North America, I think. What's that? So you never strayed from Falco?
Well.
What? Okay, and you told me that you want to be the real life version of Falco. Is that something that you always thought about? Just like love his style, like love his look, like his moves? What's your favorite move?
Fucking down air.
Down air, yeah, it's a sick move, right?
Dude, down air is sick. Downer, like, the evolution of Downer is crazy, because you start out and it's just like you plant someone in the ground and it becomes a combo starter. Did you know that against some characters, you can downer into downer into downer into as a true combo? Okay. You can downer someone to the ground, they're stuck there for a certain amount of time, you can downer them again if you do like a frame perfect downer, and it pops them up and you can follow up with another downer. And you can't like DI out of that? You can, but you can follow the DI. Okay, right. So and that's reads, right? Which is a huge part of Falco. Do you feel, So you feel confident in your read game? Is that like part of why you like it? Is it really satisfying to be able to just like get a series of reads on somebody? Dude, oh my god. I would say Falco, a lot of it is reads right now. I think there is room for Falco players to figure out ways to not have to read, to make it so that it's completely reactable. So for example, there's like the most obvious example, which is ice climbers. You get a grab and you wobble someone. That's a true combo, right? Yeah. And that's a true combo to death. Okay, so you have that, and then you have stuff like Marth's chain grab on Space Animals on Final Destination, which is like the flat stage. Marth just up throws, and that's completely reactable. You can throw a character up like a Fox or Falco. You can see which way they DI, and you can very easily react to their DI and re-grab. Right. Falco has a lot of combos that are completely reactable. Okay. There are a lot of setups that involve some reads. And that's where kind of the meta game goes, where like if I downer someone, people tend to DI away because that makes it like the hardest for the Falco to follow up. Right. Because almost everyone does that, I know they're gonna do that. So I can pretty easily assume that they DI away and I can follow up. Okay. Then I can do stuff where if I assume that they DI away, I can hit them with a strong move instead of a down air, and now they're DIing away a very strong move, and now they're going to die. Okay. That's pretty much what I really enjoy with Falco. It's taking advantage of things that people think are safe and making them hate themselves for it. Okay, true. It's one of my favorite things. And and then apart from, do you like does it matter to you how he looks as a character? Like his appeal and stuff does that matter to you? I've had people tell me I kind of look like Falco in a weird way. Okay. Maybe my face structure or something. My hair's up. Yeah. I love his jacket, how it's kind of like a pop color. Oh, he's styling, man. Yeah, he's got one of the best. He's got like some of the best colors too. One of the hardest parts about me for Fox is I like the freedom of movement. This guy has no good colors, man. Like neutral is cool, but I actually don't like I don't like the green. I'm sorry, Toph, I really don't like the green and red. That's not my style. Like I don't know. And Falco's just like red jacket, like the light blue I actually thought that you played white Falco. Like I'm fine, I'm comfortable with you guys knowing that I know basically fuck all about Smash. Like I don't think I've missed a big Smash tournament in 2 years, but I did just learn that you weren't playing white Falco, that you were playing light blue Falco. That's a really easy thing to mix up because his jacket is like a very, very light shade of blue. Yeah. So you would think it's the white one, and even like the neutral white Falco, it's kind of like a yellow jacket. It's like an off, so that's when I went to look at it and I was like, is Zhu neutral? Because this is kind of like a dirty, like yellow, like someone blew cigarette smoke on his jacket. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that. I've actually gone through all the different colors of Falco within my career except for red. So when I started out, I played the neutral Falco. Yeah. Because of Bomb Soldier. Oh, okay. To emulate him. And then I started playing blue because I'm like, well, blue's like, you know, it's like flow, it's like water, it's like Bruce Lee, you know, I want to channel that flow. Always stay moving, but then, over time, I felt like it was weak. Okay. Like, you know, you can focus on like being very like skilled and like very like careful and precise, but I felt like it lacked power. It's not bold enough, yeah? All that stuff's really interesting to me. Yeah. So who are your heroes? So you mentioned Bomb Soldier and that you use what was it, neutral Falco because of Bomb Soldier? Bomb Soldier. Yeah. So who did you look up to when you started, and like have you always? I know some people don't have any heroes. Honestly, like I know some players that just don't look up to anybody. Even in Counter-Strike, they just think of themselves as like the best. They don't really have heroes. Did you have heroes, or did you look up to anyone? Did you model yourself after anyone? Literally just Bomb Soldier. Literally just Bomb Soldier. It's actually pretty interesting because like Bomb Soldier really inspired me to play Falco. I think I took a lot of his techniques. Now that I think about it, I don't really think I took his style. And like PC Chris, another like old school really famous player, had a Falco and it was like good results-wise, but I never really liked his style either. Oh, Ford actually. Ford was a Falco that kind of broke out after Bomb Soldier. He's from Arizona. Really, really good player, really influential. I definitely took a lot of techniques from him as well. But again, like in terms of style, I think I pretty much developed my own style. I think because just I looked at the game differently and I had a different personality as well. And there weren't as many good players back in the day, so like I became like a top player on my own accord, so I kind of just developed my own style around the people that I played and just the way I approached the game.
So stop me. I have something like an interesting thought, and stop me if I'm wrong about this. So like there's like this 20GX movement with Falcon, where the people like Wizzy feel like that Falcon isn't being played optimally, and you play Falco a little bit more carefully, right? Like you play a little more calculated, and people who play Falcon in general, from what I hear, people who don't necessarily play to win, they play to have fun. They play to be explosive, and I mean it's like kind of a little bit of solace in playing a character that has so many disadvantages, right? Poor recovery and stuff like that. Now you could say the same thing about Falco in some regards. There isn't a lot of Falco representation. There's no, I don't know if anybody's ever been the top player as Falco in Melee. Has that ever been the case? Or, well, I guess Mango had played Falco when he was #1.
Yeah.
But there just isn't that much representation overall. Do you feel like there is are you in this kind of movement? Do you look at Falco the same way that Wizzy looks at Captain Falcon? Like there's a safe way and better way to play him?
Okay, that's interesting. So
20 FL, Lombardi.
There are a few things with that. So there definitely have been top Falco players for a long time, and Falco has been doing well overall. But there wasn't a period of time where Falco was like a dominant character, where Falco won all the nationals. Maybe only a short period of time where Mango played Falco a bit and like won a few nationals here or there against Mewtwo King, but Falco was never the one, like with the character that was expected to win like the major for a long period of time.
Right.
Even though he's a top character, obviously. So there's that, and in terms of like a Falco movement, Falco's actually been kind of on the decline, and I think it's a mixture of things. It's a mixture of PPMD had a really good like 2-hour-long video talking about Falco and its place in the metagame, and I pretty much agree with everything that he said in that video. But to kind of just break it down real quick, he talks about how there's like the human factor, like just like kind of the factors between the players that are leading Falco as a character, and on the game side of it,
what he's capable of as a character.
Yeah, exactly. So
do you feel like you're unique in your place in the top 30 as like a player who's playing Falco? Like, is there any other player that's playing him kind of the way you think he should be played, you or PP? Like PP's not even active anymore, right? Unfortunately.
I think it's always one of those things where it's like if you fuse this player and this player, you would get an unstoppable player. I think if there was some combination between like me and Westballs, I think that'd be amazing. I think I am really good at setting up like neutral situations and like getting advantages, but I'm not good at following up as hard as Wes is. I think Wes is really good at getting advantages out of disadvantageous situations and getting a lot out of it. I think he could set those up a little bit better. So I think it would be a combination of his like ability to counterattack and my ability to set up those advantageous positioning.
Oh, don't worry, man. I can get you a prescription.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah.
The edge is too much.
We'll see.
Totally joking, of course. So now we've talked about you, the meta, a little bit what your thoughts are on Falco. So let's talk about right now. I guess it's BOXR. We got a care package sent to us by Nathan and Taylor.
Dude, this swag, I could not believe it. We almost thought we didn't get the full package, but I got it, and you know, I wasn't expecting this. It's just, I think this is very representative of my experience with BOXR so far. Just a lot of care and consideration, and also, I guess even like just planning and being very deliberate about things. Like this is just fucking nice. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, and that shout out to Nathan and Taylor who are handling all this stuff. The really cool part is that we can do this packaging because we're making the clothes ourselves, right? And obviously we have this sick ass logo that I created a long time ago. That's super dope. Best logo in esports by far.
Dude, you had me at Slayer's BOXR.
Yeah. So when I was first talking to Zhu, I mentioned that I made BOXR because of this, my favorite StarCraft player in Brood War. And you had a feeling it was because of that? You had a feeling it was because of BOXR? Did you just have you just thought BOXR, maybe it was Slayer's BOXR? Did you think that?
I think the thought crossed my mind. It wasn't something I would have gambled on, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, when I think BOXR, I don't think American or boxing. I don't think a dog. I think Slayer's fucking BOXR.
And you used to play StarCraft, right? Or you used to watch as well? Yeah.
Very similar story with my Melee. I was very inspired by the Korean scene. I definitely picked up and grinded the tech skill, how to micro the workers to get the optimal mineral split, all that stuff. Yeah, I love Brood War.
Yeah, me too. Sick. Yeah, me too. Now, so we have plans to do things right and do things cool. And as somebody who's a content creator and who does interviews and also play and all that stuff, I just relate to Zhu in so many ways. So he's a natural, perfect fit for me. As soon as you had your run at Evo, I just reached out to you on Twitter. And I'm sure you were flooded with requests at the time. So I was super happy that you decided to go with us. And I'm sure you don't regret it, man. We're putting all our attention into making sure that you're having a great experience. And there's a huge part of this design on the jacket too. When you brought up that you didn't want to have esports jerseys, I was totally on board with that. I was we need to move from that shit, man. What's with the racing gear on all these players who are sitting in their chairs holding controllers?
Dude, so many people have I mean, I can't even say it's poorly designed, but it just kind of looks tacky sometimes, especially sometimes the fit doesn't look really nice, they're wearing oversized jackets and the colors are just all over the place. And it's not something that I would personally wear just on the street.
Yeah.
You know,
you brought that up. That was a sick point. That why wouldn't you want to wear something that you could wear all the time, right? That's just styling, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what we're going for. Now so enough about BOXR. Even though this is a really cool thing that we're doing. What are your goals? What's you mentioned yesterday? You feel very confident recently. You think that you're going to have you're going to be playing really well. So maybe we start with Big House. What's your expectation for Big House? Your realistic expectation for performance at Big House? Do you think about that?
It's I've been doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's actually one thing that I really wanted to focus on when I started with BOXR, which is really kind of figuring out what I want to do and narrow it down to the top priorities that I have and really focusing on those things. I have not been doing a good job with that recently, or for the past maybe half year.
Yeah.
But I started thinking more along those lines a little bit before CEO, and I did, I think, pretty well at CEO, and I think I did very well at Evo. And that was really good, positive reinforcement for me. So
did that show yourself something when you had that run at Evo? I remember before you played Lucky, I think that day, you had told either Blur or Toph that you were just feeling really good that day, you're really feeling yourself, and then you had that outstanding performance. Was that something you didn't sometimes you don't expect yourself to play that well, obviously. Was that something you were just surprised yourself with, that you're very pleased that you kind of still had it in you? Were you ever thinking about moving from focusing on playing to just trying to do all this other stuff, all these other opportunities that you have? Is that a real thought ever?
Yeah. I think the way that I approach the game, like you said, is very safe, really almost calculated. The result of that is I have very high consistency, but what that means is that I'm also not consistently winning majors or getting top 8. I'm
the gatekeeper.
I'm kind of a gatekeeper, yeah. And by having those kind of results for 3 years, or for actually a really long time, I kind of stopped believing that I would ever make it into the top, whatever. And that was very true for a while. So, recently, I've just been thinking about how Melee's been growing and just my place in all of that, and I realized that I'm in a place where I can inspire a lot of people to play the game the same way that Bomb Soldier did for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually that's a really cool thing that I have, I think that's a really cool thing that I have access to, I guess. And so doing that for other people, and also just I think I kind of let go of winning Evo or dreams of those sort of things. I think it's time to really give it another shot, because I don't have unlimited time to do that, right?
Yeah.
So I started kind of treating practice and thinking about specifically preparing for doing very well at a tournament. Especially before EVO, I've made a lot of changes in the way I prepare for things. I wear a headphone all the time. You know, that's been a big deal for me.
Yeah.
Thinking in those terms, something I've been doing a lot and I want to do more of. Now, in terms of Big House, I've had a really busy last month, so I haven't done the preparation that I really want to. And again, it's like time management, figuring out things in my life.
Yeah, you're full-time at Smash GG.
Yeah.
Right, we just got all this stuff together that you've been helping us work on. And we have, you know, obviously there's a really good point in managing expectations and then having long-term goals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's completely understandable.
That's another thing. That's another huge reason why I wanted to partner up with you. You and your team have constantly blown me away with how prepared you guys are and how thoughtful you guys are. And you, as you know, like a pretty competitive player, you've been able to manage like being a commentator, a content creator, and also working with other people. I think there's a lot of that stuff that I could learn from you specifically. And the mentorship was very valuable on top of, like, you know, we can talk about the branding and we can talk about like social media exposure, but I think what I really needed was help with direction as a player and all the other things that I was doing. So that's one thing that I'm looking for.
Esports is getting crazy, man. It's like more opportunities. So everything's getting busier. There's just more opportunities, and all about like putting your time in all the right places all the time, and that can be difficult for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what's your expectation for, let's say, 6 months from now? Is there somebody that you want to take down? Is that how you set a goal for yourself as a player? Is there like, if I do this, I know I've like made progress?
That's interesting. I've actually never done that.
Okay.
You know, I've never been one, like I've never really thought before a tournament, or like, I've never used like, oh, I want to win EVO, or I want to win this tournament as a motivator. And I've won tournaments before.
Yeah.
And that's not how I did it. The way I've always done it was just play really hard the day of.
Yeah.
And I guess that might have been okay, but clearly that didn't really work for me. So I think you're right. I think I should really set some more measurable expectations and goals.
Okay.
So for me, my first immediate goal is to make top 8 at a major.
Make top 8 at a major.
Yeah, and that's not easy these days.
Yeah.
There's a much bigger window to do that before. In order for me to make top 8 at, you know, let's say Big House.
You literally had to beat Mango to make top 8 at EVO.
What the I had to beat either Mango or Plop.
Yeah, or
that's
Plop, yeah.
insane.
Even
Plop
Plop,
got
yeah.
3rd at EVO.
Yeah, that's actually nuts.
The fuck?
Insane set versus Hungry Box. Insane set versus Hungry Box in winners, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But if I had to single out a player, I think, we talked about this a little bit. Hungry Box is probably the one that I would want to gun for. Even though it's kind of strange because like I play Fox against Hungry Box, it's not even my main character. But the times that I've played him, I felt like fairly comfortable. I'm sure he could adapt to me maybe the next time or whatever, but from the past, I feel like I've done well against him. I've almost always taken games off of him. I think there's only one set where I did not like take a game off of him. So there's that, and there's also the fact that I don't really have excuses to not do well against him because I have access to Mahone and I have access to Soft, 2 top Jigglypuff players that pretty much live like walking distance from me. Like I work with Mahone. I can play him every day in the office if I wanted to. So if I could, I think Hungry Box is realistically the one I have the best chance against, even though
Hungry
he's
Box.
like top 2 in the world.
Yeah.
Top 1, top 3, whatever.
Top 1, top 3, yeah.
But you know, there's that. But like, I don't know. I think a lot of people like don't even specifically train for Hungry Box because they can't even get to him. Like, who would I have to beat to even get a shot at him?
Right.
So many other ridiculously good players, and he's the only Jigglypuff player. Does it make sense to specifically prepare for him? I don't know. Does Hungry Box know? I don't know. But
yeah, because he's the only one, like, for a long shot that's ever going to make it that far as a Jigglypuff main. So, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, but I want to beat him. Yeah,
okay.
I don't want to beat around the bush. I do want to beat him. If I get a really big win, I want it to be him.
Cool. Always good to have a nemesis. That's a quote from Smash Brothers documentary, right? You got to have a nemesis, right? That makes you. And it's not necessarily to say that you hate him, but maybe somebody that you could that you just have a goal to just want to, you know what I mean? But you still respect them. They're still cool. But maybe it's good to have somebody like that. I have a bonus question, okay?
Okay.
What is the number one thing you see Falco players doing wrong that are like that are like up and coming? Do you ever watch like local lands and like see Falco and like, think, man, this guy, why the fuck is he doing that?
Right. Number one thing, he's playing Falco. No, I'm just kidding. Probably general recklessness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just thought that like Falco can just fucking hit people so hard, so they just like throw out too many moves.
Yeah, honestly, like Falco's a character where like you have a gun and like in that sense he's like very ranged, but if you take away the gun and like when Falco actually gets in on an opponent and takes space and that sort of stuff, like it's not with the gun, it's with his movement and his aerials, and that stuff doesn't have very much range, and oftentimes people are not very careful with it because in any sort of advantageous position that you get, you're risking your entire body, and if you get grabbed by almost any character, you're like dead.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't really take the time to understand why they're losing their like advantages, why they're like mistiming their aerials or misspacing and dying as a result. And I think a lot of people could just be not necessarily a little more careful, but just like look at their videos and look for common trends of like, why are you getting grabbed and why are you dying all the time? Like, and you know, instead of doing that, a lot of Falco players, like I think Falco players have to deal with some of like the most frustrating melee ever because I think a lot of Falco players will know it's like super frustrating to get grabbed once and just die, right? Instead of just like getting really salty and angry and throwing their controllers, like look at your matches, look for
at
common
the sun,
trends.
Look directly into the sun. Think
Look
of
at
the ocean.
Yeah, how do you know about that? Why do you know?
I don't miss anything in Melee. Like I honestly watch more Melee than Counter-Strike. Don't tell my community.
How do you know that? Dude, you need to teach me Counter-Strike, actually.
Yeah, I'm down.
We gotta have some streams of
We're
you
gonna
teaching
play
me.
some singles right after this, by the way. Yeah.
Melee.
Yeah, Melee.
All
We're
right.
at TwitchCon, by the way, in case you guys didn't know. All these purple shirts walking behind us. Yeah, me dressed up in all my TwitchCon stuff. And they have a Melee setup downstairs. But anyways, yeah, Falcos, be more careful, or think more carefully. Or watch your demos.
Yeah.
Watch it, review your VODs.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. Review your VODs and look for common trends.
Okay. All right, Zhu. It's great meeting you. You're exactly everything that I thought you'd be and more. And
you too, dude.
That's it, man. I'm glad to have you. So this is it, BOXR Zhu and Launders at TwitchCon.